to my kitchen in Hawaii. I have been kind of going through and making some videos of how to make basic staples that you can kind of consume on a regular basis instead of buying it at the store, how to make it your own. So I've already made how to make your own homemade vanilla extract. I've already made how to make your own nut milk. And now I'm going to show you how to make your own almond flour using the pulp left over from your almond milk. So when you make almond milk, you're left over with this pulp. It's hydrated, so it's moist, and we have to dehydrate it so that you can have almond flour. If you discard this, you lose out on part of the almond that you paid for, so you're just making milk, where you can also make almond flour at home. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. You get a bang for your buck with that. The first thing we're gonna do is take this, spread this out on a pan, put it in the oven and bake it for like an hour probably at 350 degrees. You basically just wanna get it until it's completely dehydrated and there's no more moisture left in the pulp. Alright, so I just took this out of the oven, the now almond flour that used to be almond pulp, and you can see some of the pieces are kind of big. So I'm gonna put them in the blender to kind of pulse it to get a little bit finer of almond flour, just so I don't have these big chunks. But what I wanted to tell you about is not to cheat the system. There was one time where I thought I do not want to spend the hour and heat up the house with the oven and make my own almond flour. I'm just gonna use the pulp in the recipe, and it does not work. There's too much liquid in the pulp. It'll ruin the recipe and it'll make it very watery, especially if you're trying to make like protein balls. It turns out terrible, and they're really, really bland because nothing sticks because it's so moist. So this is really great to just kind of pop it in. Pretty easy, you just have to put it on the tray. So I'm gonna blend this in here and make it a finer powder. So here's my container where I keep my almond flour. So as you can see, the different levels, this is like store-bought and this is leftover from my almond flour I did last time. You can see this is a little darker. I toasted it a little bit longer. And I just kind of add this to my stash. So if you were making a recipe now, you can use it, which I'll show you now. But obviously if you weren't, now you just have almond flour. All right, so to make the perfect bars, you're going to need just a few ingredients that you probably already have at home. Obviously, you're gonna need your almond flour. So I'm taking, gotta add this back in. So I am taking 1.5 cups of almond flour. So I'm just scooping from my almond flour container, making that almond milk made about 1.5 cups because I'm pretty much using everything I just made. And put 1.5 cups in your blender. Then you're gonna take the same 1/2 cup measuring cup to save on dishes, and you're gonna do 1/2 cup of protein powder. I'm using chocolate, but you can use whatever you want. I'm just using Orgain's organic protein. This is a really great protein powder I get on Amazon for a pretty decent price. Really like it. All right, the next ingredient you're gonna need is peanut butter. You can use like the natural creamy drippy peanut butter. You're gonna use 3/4 of a cup. This is, I have to keep, because of the ants, I have to keep this in the fridge, so it's a little bit harder. So I'm going to open up and heat it up in the microwave a little bit, just so that it gets a little bit more thinner, so that it's really easy to mix. So here is us making the protein bars, and Aspen is looking for Loki. Look at she's excited. Alright, so the peanut butter has been added. The next ingredient is honey. So you use 5 tablespoons for this recipe. Now 4 tablespoons is of 1/4 cup, and you want it to be heated because you really, really want it to be runny and able to like mix well. So I'm gonna fill this up, pop this in the microwave, and then I'm gonna add like 1/4 cup and then a tiny little bit to make it the 5th tablespoon. So then lastly, we're gonna use 3 tablespoons of almond milk. This is homemade almond milk. If you haven't watched that video already, please go watch that. Make your own almond milk. If you don't wanna make your own almond milk, just use store-bought milk. I'm sure you could use water as well if you wanted to. Ooh, as I spill. And then I'm going to add in sea salt. So I don't add the chocolate chips in the recipe until I have it in and I can really incorporate them and fold them in. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of sea salt. I have pink salt here and then sea salt here, so you can use whatever you want. And then I'm going to take, now that everything is combined into my container, I'm going to put the lid on, and when everything is still warm, I'm going to blend it so that everything can really incorporate, and I'll show you what I do next. So then what I like to do is I have the mixture. You can see not all of it mixed because it is just really like hard to combine all at once. So I like to mix by hand, and then this is when I add in my chocolate chips. Then I just sprinkle a little bit of sea salt, just thicker pieces of sea salt, and pop it in the fridge. All right, they are out of the fridge, and I'm gonna pop it out, put it on a cutting board, and then cut them up, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so I just took them out of the fridge. I added sea salt and the chocolate chips on top, left it in the fridge. I did put it in the freezer for the last like 10 minutes just to really solidify it so it's easier to cut. And now I'm going to pop it out. I would use parchment paper in the future, but just to show you, I just have the plastic wrap, so that's what I use, and that's what's gonna work. So I'm gonna cut these up and make my perfect bars. This is what they come out like. They come out to be so good. And I toasted the almond flour a little bit more so you really get that almond taste. So good. If you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up down below, not a thumbs down. Give it a thumbs up down below and subscribe to our channel. We would really appreciate that. I will be doing more like basic videos on just like things like the almond milk and the yogurt and how to make these simple ingredients and recipes that you like purchase all the time at the grocery store so that you can make it at home and save a little bit of money and have a little bit of fun and eat a little bit healthier. So thanks so much again for watching this video. Please let me know if you make these perfect bars, and we will see you later this week. See ya.